So we're back. YouTube decided it was going to take for next to ever, because I mean we were like right there, ready to go, and it just wouldn't work with us. We're back for the Q&A time, and then at the end we're going to go, and I've got the song picked out that where we're going to start from.
Good.
And then we're going to have someone give us a second song. And again, it's one that was a request from this past weekend that I want to use, and we'll have a little fun with that one because it is a request a lot of us have gotten and such.
I wrote a DJ News article about last week's discussion,
and that was a good article.
You like that one?
I did. I like that. That was a good. If you guys want to go check that out, just go to discjockeynews.com and you can go to current issue and see that.
It was about last week's discussion on our song transition thing.
Yeah, it was a neat concept. I like how he ties in the millennials. He ties in the music and the older and newer and brings it all together and puts it in a car chase, and it was fabulous.
Car chase, I like that.
Yeah, it's all there. Okay. Questions for tonight. We've got a few. If you guys have got any questions you want us to throw in as we're going along, please put those in the chat. I'll be watching the YouTube chat. If you're watching this on Facebook, well, thank you for watching there. But there's a link in the description. You can go to that, click on that, and that'll take you to YouTube, and you can do it on your phone or your computer, and then we'll be able to see your device. Now, if you're Matt is a very talented man. Matt will have the video playing on like his TV, and he'll have his phone set up so he can chat with the phone while he's watching it on his TV. I gotta say, that was
feeling blue.
I was feeling a little blue there for a moment.
Got the blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan talk gave me the blues.
No, there we go. So that will be something. You guys will see that picture because that was a pretty cool picture of what Matt shot on that last night. So, all right, let's jump into our questions for tonight. A gentleman was talking about this, and I thought it would be a great topic. When we used to do CDs back, and even when we were doing vinyl, you get a soft floor, and you were hosed basically.
Yeah.
Now, of course, with computers we're not. But even when I'm out with my laptop, there's times where the floor is soft, and I'm getting that the screen is bouncing around, and that can't be good for my laptop. Are there any suggestions or ideas or things you've seen that could maybe help to stabilize that or to cushion that so that laptop isn't flopping around like that?
Back in the old days, we did several things to cushion our bouncy floors because, this was back in the days before they were too worried about fire codes and things with the halls.
Yeah.
None of them hadn't been retrofitted yet. Some of those places were very old. A lot of them have been torn down and rebuilt because the floors were just so unstable for that. We used to take, one thing we did is we used to take like a scrap piece of 2x4 and wrap it in carpet and carpet pad and 4 of those and put one under each leg of our DJ table, which actually helped a little bit. And we even took it a step further with the turntables and would make double-sided carpeted pads, like a piece of plywood, and then padding carpet on both sides to kind of help cushion it. It didn't solve the problem, but it helped. So there are things out there. There are there's these little different turntables actually. They're blow up little shocks. Inflatable. Yeah, thank you. There's a word. Inflatable.
Really? I haven't seen those.
Yeah, who made those? I'm thinking Alan and Heath kind of kicked those off. I'm picturing them in my head. They're kind of they're orange. I don't remember who makes them. Somebody in the room will go, "Oh yeah,
no, that's what they are." Yeah,
that's what they are. I got them. But there are things. But I don't think we have too much to worry about, especially now that most of us are going with solid state drives.
Yeah,
there's not a big issue anymore.
Yeah. My biggest concern is I've personally done that. Cinder blocks, no.
Yeah.
Is just as you're watching that screen and you're thinking, God, that can't be good on that hinge of that screen.
Yeah.
But oh man, remember what song? There's a few songs, but when we'd be playing on a soft floor, there's just songs you knew. You remember a couple of them off the top of your head?
Shout. You were screwed when you played Shout.
Yep.
Not only that, but you had to flip the record. We had the 45. Now wait a minute. Flip it. Put the needle back on. And then you play while they're screaming, and you're on the microphone going, "Let's make some noise." Of course, we should have had 2 copies of that, but the company I worked for was so cheap. We just flipped the record and did the "Let's make some noise" thing. But yeah. I remember there was this one place called Seven Seas. It's still there, but it was torn down and rebuilt. It was so bad. And I remember this one gig I did there early when I was working for my first multi-op. The crowd was pretty drunk, and if we played something they didn't like, they'd just stomp on the floor and the needle would skip to the end. It was really bad. So I guess I don't have a lot of sympathy for a screen that moves a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That, what we had to go through. I did another gig outdoors one time. It's not even a bouncy floor. Did a gig outdoors one time. We had coverage in the whole bit, but it was so windy we couldn't keep the needles on the record.
Oh wow!
Off. So we had to put a needle on and then put the dust cover on, so the wind wouldn't blow.
Interesting.
The record. All kinds of fun war stories like that.
Jump around.
This was pre-Jump Around.
This is before that, but yeah, that's when.
By the time Jump Around came along, we
were digital, and even then we could get those to skip. Probably the biggest one that when we were first starting out, and that would make do a lot of the skipping was Tommy James Money Money.
Yeah,
and then moving into Billy Idol, the early when we did that, because they would make those early CD players skip with Billy Idol.
Yeah,
there were shows where we had a coffin that we built that was basically 2 19-inch racks screwed together. So It was a beast of a thing. And we would get to some songs, Moni Moni, ACD, what have you. And Lori would go grab one end, and I'd grab the other, and we'd literally hold this darn thing while the floor is just bouncing.
Right.
So you'd plan your sets where you'd do maybe 2 good songs, and then you'd have a dud where that would stop them from jumping on it.
Literally have to chill the audience out.
You would have to chill it out because of the floor.
Imagine at a mobile gig, they're too wound up, I have to chill them out. Adults, not kids.
Yeah, that's what we had to do. There was
kill your dance floor to prevent your music from getting skipped on crappy floors.
Yeah, that was something. That's one of the reasons why we went to mini disc. It was a lot easier with mini disc.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Somebody's asking about giveaways and such, and I thought a good topic. Mm-hmm. Swag for your DJ business. What kind of things would you, if somebody was looking to get something to hand out as swag? Have you seen anything that would really kind of stand out that you think would be a good idea for that purpose?
Swag is a weird thing. Swag is like, I look at it like I look at carnival prizes. It's crap you would never go buy.
Yep.
And once you have it, and you bring it home, you're like, well, what am I going to do with this? It's like the giant stuffed bear. You wouldn't go buy a giant stuffed bear, but if you can win one, wow. And you walk around like you're the hero with the giant stuffed bear. I think swag's kind of like that. And you can get like the glow sticks and the glow tubes and all of those things are very popular. But let me tell you, man, you can be a rock star at the dollar store too. When we do photo booth, it's so hard to keep our dollar cowboy hats on the prop table.
Sure.
They're $1 a piece. Can you imagine just spending $30 on cowboy hats and just throwing them out to people or whatever? It's just dumb stuff. It doesn't matter what it is anymore. It's just something. It's like when you're on an airplane and you've got a giant bag of peanut M&Ms, it's almost like you're king because nobody else has that. It's like this contraband you brought on, and you could sell it if you wanted to. Somebody would buy it. I remember when I was in high school, there was a guy who used to buy a case of Mountain Dew every morning, and he'd sell it at second period, and he'd sell them for 75 cents a piece. He didn't pay anything. I mean, they're like quarter a piece or whatever.
Or whatever, yeah.
Mountain Dew. It was always Mountain Dew. It was never anything else. It was Mountain Dew. And we would buy it. We could have bought our own Mountain Dew before class and brought it in, but we didn't. We buy it off of this idiot. Swag's like that. It's not that it's particularly cool. Like you couldn't go buy 1,000 of them for nothing. It's that at that moment in time, you can't have just that, and you want something, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. It doesn't matter.
I think
hats
so.
are good, you know.
Yeah, I think, as you say, because people just aren't going to use it. So sometimes, pens, magnets,
Beads.
The one I probably have seen the most that people actually use is the football schedule or a sporting
Well,
event
if you're
schedule.
talking about promotional material, that's different.
Yeah.
That's very different than yeah. I mean, who looks at a calendar anymore? I think they're cool, but
Yeah, no one's going to really look at.
it's unfortunate. But if we're talking promotional items, that's very different. Keychains, refrigerator magnets are still big. It's right there. It's right in front of you. People still put them all over the refrigerator. I kind of tried to boycott them, but Blanca is doing it anyway on the side of the refrigerator.
Yep.
Art projects from her kid and crap. No, God, no, please. I hate that stuff. But it's there. People use refrigerator magnets, keychains, pens, like you say.
Yeah.
Flash drives. I mean, really, that's something people use.
Yeah.
Teach me on a flash drive. That's a handy thing. And that gets passed around too.
Yeah. Really, for a bridal show, you think about it. Depending upon the size of the bridal show, obviously, but I've got many of them around here that have 200 brides, and even at $4 a flash drive, to have something that has my name on it that they're going to hang on to because, oh, look at this. This has got a 4, 8, 10 gig or 16 gig, whatever.
Right. It's handy.
Yeah, that would actually be, yes, it's an investment. You're probably going to put in $2,000 into it. But again, I've got prospects who now have my name in front of them. So it'd be good.
People like t-shirts. They do. Yeah. I mean, if you can get a decent t-shirt produced and throw a few of those around, people dig them.
Yeah, nothing gets DJs up and shouting at a convention like cheap, undersized, size small t-shirts being thrown.
Right. I want one. I mean, come on, they're falling for it.
I think Jimmy's got a theme going on tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy's always got a theme going on.
He's got a theme tonight. I think it's weird inflatable objects. Okay. This is a music-related one.
Yeah.
What are some songs that you absolutely, and for those of you in the chat room, please, you guys are going to have some to add to this list. Some songs you absolutely have to play to the final note because the end is so hot or so popular that you can't cut the end off because the ending is just so much a part of the song.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of songs where the intro and the outro are hot. And when I'm out and about, it bugs me when I hear things and DJs cut them.
Yep.
Sometimes they're redundant. I mean, and I think that's what you really need to look at more so than what's a must keep. And you got to look at what's redundant. Like every Black Eyed Peas song, the end is redundant because you've heard it 3 times already.
Yeah.
You don't need to hear another chorus. It didn't change. But there are a lot of songs like "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince. The guitar solo at the end. Some people lose their minds on that.
Yep. That's one of them.
Tune, if you're a lot of people don't, but if you are playing that tune, that's a cool one to save the end. The end is what people kind of wait for with the solo.
Mm-hmm.
The air guitar thing just comes to mind. So,
a couple that jumped to mind with me. "Baby Got Back." There's a video version out there, and I don't remember where I got that particular version of the track, and they cut the end. And it's like
the little in the middle, but she got much back is kind of hot.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, you don't hear that ching chink at the very end. It's like
even when I mix into something else at the end of that track, I leave all of that.
Yeah,
and the cha-ching, I leave it too, and I turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a thing where I mix that one into push it a lot because I think they're the same key and they're the same BPM. And I do long, even white boys start to shout, "Baby Got Back," push it. I mean, I start way back there and do like a 32 bar mix, and I still leave the cha-ching in there. So there are cool tunes like that.
Yeah. Another one.
Want to keep. And intros are the same thing. Some intros you don't need. Some intros for what we do are stupid. Some are really good. But I think, more important than thinking about the tracks that are hot, to keep the intros or outros, or thinking about the ones that are redundant. That's really more important, because more often than not, people want to hear, I mean, for what we do, I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe that people want to hear what's familiar to them.
Yep.
They don't want the remix, usually.
Jimmy, are you listening?
They want what they know. Like, I know there's a couple versions of Love Shack out there.
Yep.
Where the B section, the bang, bang, bang on the door thing, it goes long.
It's repeated a couple of times.
And then the audience is like, they want to go bang, bang, and it's not time yet. Because they do another 8 bars of this shit.
Yep.
And it throws them off. They're not having as much fun. So you got to play the radio, I'm familiar with this track, to get the maximum impact from the audience.
Yeah. I think YMCA is another song, not for the ending or what have you, but it's one that you need to play, the one that everyone knows, because if you don't play that one and you play the extended mix, and people, I've
the
seen
long intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many versions of the YMCA.
There's one that's really good, and it's the radio edit. It's the newest version of it. I mean, when I say newest, I mean,
what movie was that in? Because that came out on a.
It's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I was just watching Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser, and he was doing the YMCA in that.
I can't remember which movie it was. That was the first time we got a really good, clean, the 3-minute version of.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got it on a CD collection about disco sometime in the early 90s. I forget what it was called, but I was like on volume 4. It was like, ooh, this is hot. The disco years or something
like that. Yeah,
a lot of good tracks that way.
Last one that I was thinking about, Footloose. There's a version, I believe, that came out from one of the promo edits, and it doesn't have the ending of Footloose, and it ends kind of abruptly. And that when I play the wrong one, it's like, oh man, because I'm expecting.
It doesn't feel right to me either.
Yeah, just you expect it, and it's not there.
Just when you're mixing anything, I mean, we talk about this next week or whatever. You've got cold endings, which is Footloose, da 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 da, and you want that in there. So to do a slam mix cold ending from that into something else is incredibly appropriate. You don't have to mix those tracks. You don't. For the audience to be happy about it. I think for a long time, the consensus was you have to mix everything. And then people thought you had to like start at a lower BPM at the beginning of the night and then end in the 130s somewhere. I think that's dumb too. Set should have hills and valleys, especially as a mobile. But yeah, I'm ranting now. But no, like there are tunes that you can absolutely mix in and out of. Like I said, with the redundant endings, where it sounds just like every other chorus.
Yeah.
You know, the last chorus of the song sounds just like the first chorus of the song. It's redundant.
Yep.
That's Black Eyed Peas. That's Katy Perry. That's Kesha. That's
most pop music, because you're going to.
It's Britney Spears. It's Black Eyed Peas. It's all that crap. It's sometimes it's LMFAO.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do something different at the end, but most of the time they don't. You can mix in and out of that, and who cares? Or you can mix out at the B section at the end, and it doesn't matter because you've heard the song. You don't have to hear the chorus again. Some things people wait for, though. So,
DJ Dave, no, I don't remember. I'm not even familiar with. Thinking of is and that doesn't they use Scum. That doesn't ring a bell to me at all. I don't remember what it was. Just remember it was a disc. I'd have to go back and look in the library.
Periscope or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember which.
McHale's Navy. They were in one of those movies.
Yeah, it was on a lot of them. Let's see. I want to go to young man was asking. I thought this would be a good one because you do a lot of video, taking video of lighting and such, and they were wondering about how They could get photos. They've got some uplighting that they want to offer. They're just starting out, so they haven't done that many gigs yet, but they bought these things, and now they want to get some pictures for their promotional purposes.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how they can do such a thing?
Well, the thing that I've done with a lot of pieces that I've gotten, and I'm really excited about advertising them or having pictures of them to share with clients, is bring them to the next gig and set them up and use them, regardless if the client paid for it or not. Because, well, it's kind of like, okay, here, I did a little something extra for you. And you can take creative liberties. You don't have to worry about what color it is. You don't have to worry about where it is placed exactly. You can do what you think is cool, and then you can get your picture. That's am I on the right track here? Or are we talking about something else?
Nope, this is exactly what we're talking about.
So yeah, that's how I do it. You know, if I went out and I bought this new light, or anything, this thing that's a visual upsell, gobo, whatever, I would just bring it to the next gig, set it up as cool as you can, be creative. You don't have to worry about what the client has to say about it because they didn't pay for it. It's a surprise for them, and then get your shot. Mm-hmm. If you don't like your shot, bring it to another gig and try it again.
Yeah.
It's a way to learn how to set up too, you know. I mean, I hate just giving things away like that, but it's actually good for me. And then people see it and, oh, that's amazing. You get feedback on it that way. And I don't know, that's how I do it.
Yeah, and somebody had asked in that conversation about that, it talked about renting a hall. And on one aspect, think about it from the hall's perspective. You want to come in there on a Tuesday, and they're probably they're not set up, and they don't want their room to look like dump. So now they're going to want to go set up. So you're making more work, even if you're paying them. You're not paying them a ton of money, and it maybe if you had a good relationship with the hall and you could help, you were working back and forth. But if you just go in there and say, "Hey, can I rent the room for an hour to shoot?" It might be one of those things that it's just not worth it on their side, and you're going to have more negative.
I think it's better to see things like in action, like
with people
audience there and dancing, people dancing, and it's if you just see the thing, it's kind of boring. But if you see the thing and how people are reacting around the thing, even if it's not particularly to that thing, but it's like celebratory and fun, it adds value to the clients from their perspective. Hey, these people having a nice time around this thing. Mm-hmm. I need this thing too. So I think you're better off just bringing it to your next gig and using it. It doesn't cost you anything that way. You're not above and beyond time on the the fixture itself, but it's not like you're renting a room about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we've got time enough for one more, and then we need to wrap
I gotta
things.
Go play dad. My kid's first day of college today, and she's upstairs waiting for me. She wants me to take her to a diner or something, so we're gonna do that.
Let's see. I wanted to let's dig into this one. Somebody was wanting to find a way to promote their gig that they do in a local bar to bring more people in. What kind of things, if there were some things that they could do to generate some traffic through the door? Social
media. You have it. It's all free now, pretty much. Or you can do things like Facebook ads where you have a target audience. I want single people between the ages of 21 and 30 in this zip code to see this ad, because I'm doing a party every Tuesday or karaoke or whatever, and these people might like to go see it. I'm going to put $25 on this ad to target these people this week. That's one thing you can do. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of cool things you can do with social media to promote, what you're doing now at bars and things like that.
And I think that you're right on with the social media side, but the thing we need to do when we're in that situation is to develop an audience. And the best way to do that through social media is with some contest tied to that bar. Let's say you're doing it at up here I've got the Double R. It's the bar that we are involved with. If we wanted to do something, we would do a contest where we would have maybe someone would share. They would go and they would make a request. They'd go in and they'd put a request in below a post, And from that, we're going to pick one person who's going to get a $50 bar tab for the night.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, what we're going to have is people coming in and they're going to do that, or maybe they need to like the page and do whatever. But you're going to start to develop a following of people, and you're going to start to develop an audience that could like that. And these are the people that are going to be you're going to market to. And from the bar standpoint, a $50 bar tab is costs them $10, if that.
Right.
So they're much happier to give away a $50 bar tab than the T-shirt that they have printed up, because that actually costs them real money in most cases compared to the bar tab, which doesn't. So be a little creative with that. But I think you're right on, Brian. Social media is the way to go.
Something I like, and I haven't done too much of it. We've talked about it with Photo Booth, though. And as soon as I can get my daughter to focus, maybe we'll talk more about it. But I thought it would be a really good idea to take all the pictures that we got from the Photo Booth and post them on the Photo Booth Facebook page and tag like the bride and groom in every picture. And then the bride and groom in turn is going to tag everybody who's in those pictures. Then everybody who's in those pictures is going to put them on their Facebook wall.
Yep.
And they're going to say, well, where did you get this taken? Oh, you got it taken to this wedding at this photo booth. Oh, this photo booth has a website.
Mm-hmm.
There are cool things you can do. You can do that in a bar, too.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
People having fun at the bar, Don't take a picture of the toothless, fat, drunk person. Don't do that. But focus on the beautiful people and get their pictures, having a good time, and it makes you look good. I don't know.
Let's see. We got Daniel asked a question. We got, if we
Yeah,
can squeeze,
we'll
let's
do one
squeeze
more
it
question.
in. I DJ mostly bar gigs and got a call for my first wedding, which will be for my best female friend. Any tips so that I don't screw things up on my first wedding and possibly ruin her opinion of me? Daniel, I'm going to recommend, and I don't often do this. I did a Tuesday tip talking about things that a first-time DJ, the announcements and some of the basic formalities of a wedding. I put that video together actually for my teenage son that went out and did a wedding. I put the video together for his first wedding. So he would have kind of the introduction of, the process of what he's going to be expecting to do for that wedding. So if you go out to youtube.com/discjockey news, go to Tuesday tips, and I wonder if I can find the name of it here. But it was talking about doing your first wedding. And Brian, I think you've done some videos talking about different aspects over the years also. Yeah.
I mean, the best advice I have for anybody is to shadow before you do.
Ideally, yeah.
I mean, that's the ideal thing. And I've made no secret of it. I shadowed for 1.5 years before I did my own.
And in my case, Brandon was with me. I bet he's been with me 10 weddings before he went out and did his first.
Sure. I mean, I was every weekend, sometimes 2 nights a weekend, shadowing. And the girl who did the scheduling, she had my best interest at heart, and she did it brilliant. Mm-hmm. It was Kristen, and she goes by different last names all the time. But anyway, she watches the show sometimes. Still my friend, but she would do all the scheduling for this mobile company I worked for. And she started me out with these real strong DJs, and I just kind of watched. And once in a while, they would say things, why don't you pick a tune? And then I said, I'm going to pick my favorite song. And I put on Prince Bat Dance, and no one danced. I'm like, what happened? Well, dumbass. I'm not going to dance to Prince Bat Dance. You got to play this really terrible song by Clarence Carter called Strokin', or you got to play Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf. I'm like, what? Not going to dance to this. And they did. And I learned. And then progressively, it digressed because she would put me with DJs who had, shall we say, not very strong skill sets.
Sure.
And I found myself taking over from what I had learned from these DJs who kind of sucked. Mm-hmm. And eventually, like, well, you're going to do your own. I'm like, I can't do my. I was like, you've been doing it. Because it was so important to me that I didn't screw anybody's gig up,
For sure.
The company said I was ready. I said I wasn't ready. It wasn't, I was like, I don't know, because I just really wanted it right. It was important to me, still is. But that's how I got into it.
Yep.
That's why I was so confident once I got into it, because I really did know what I was doing. Even if I didn't realize I knew what I was doing, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this natural thing where I just jumped in and did my first wedding. It didn't work that way.
No, generally it doesn't. It doesn't. And
It's a time thing. And I think there are people out there who can see a gig or two and they go, yeah, I'm cool with this, and they can perform fine. I just wasn't that guy. It took me time. There was a lot of, shall we say, artist development before I was able to go out and do what I do. But luckily it all worked out, and I guess I'm a pretty strong DJ for it. So
yeah. Cool. Gang, we're going to wrap things up because Brian has got a date tonight with his daughter. And
that's gross. Don't say that.
But they're going to go out and have a first day of college debriefing.
Yes.
And that will get there. So if you guys have got any comments, questions, and such, please put those down in the comments below the video. That'll pop up a little bit later, or send those over Facebook Messenger. You can get a hold of us that way, and actually get a hold of me with questions, not Brian, because he wants them to be a surprise. It works so much better that way. Tomorrow night we'll be back. We're going to practice the music show. I remember the Disc Jockey News. I'll put that link one more time in the chat here. Pop out there and sign up for the free level, so that way you're on that email list. That's what I need for you guys to be on that list, and then we can send you a notification. And then next Tuesday's our regular show, and then Wednesday night, Brian and I are going to be doing a 24-hour marathon with all the songs we've talked about, but we couldn't play.
It's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting. It's going to be quite a night. So, gang, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for your comments. We will see you again next week. Good night.